Now, ladies and gentlemen, do you see what's on screen right now? It's a jar of some random substance. You see a couple vegetables in there, like carrots, and maybe some other things, like maybe bananas. But what do you think that is? Now, judging by the title of this video, you probably know what it is, but if you went into this blindly, like, what does that look like to you? I couldn't put my finger on it. It just looks like, kind of like that water you'd see at the bottom of a trash can or something. It looks terrifying. And this concoction right here was created by none other than the gothic bad boy himself, Joshua Saunders, KingCobraJFS. And if you know anything about Cobra, you know he loves some good eating. I mean, how could anyone forget the culinary masterpiece that was the spicy fish ramen noodles, in which Cobra added, as you can probably tell, fish and spices to noodles, but he went way above that. He added some Spam, some Doritos, some barbecue chips, some cheese, some bacon bits. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, the list goes on. Look at this finished product. I mean, who needs stuffing? Next week at Thanksgiving, bring this over to your family's dinner, and you're sure to have a hit on your hands. But enough about Cobra's cooking, let's go back to this jar that he has in front of him. As you can already tell by the video's name, this is Cobra's Mead. Now, you may be asking, Smokey, I don't know how to make mead, but do you put vegetables and fruit in it? Like whole chunks? And I'd tell you yes, but not before you add the cookies. Because if you were wondering the ingredients of Cobra's Mead, well, I just told you half of it, and now I'm showing you the other half. It's bananas cut up, some jalapenos, and you might be wondering, oh, that's where the green color came from. And probably, or just it's all the combination of rank put in that shit, but he added the jalapenos and didn't realize that it was one of those jars of jalapenos that also had carrots in it. So, I mean, like, you don't take them out at that point, you just let that shit marinate. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go back to square one. You got the jar, you put the cookies in the jar, and then you pour copious amounts of sugar on top of said cookies. And already, this is looking like something that no human should consume. But I mean, Cobra's not no ordinary human, ladies and gentlemen. Cobra eats so much sodium and sugar per day, this doesn't matter to him. Like, look at this. That's not enough. You need more at that point. It's like he's making the meanest batch of Kool-Aid ever, but he's not. He's making mead. And I know sometimes when people actually make mead, they do use fruit in it. But, I mean, I've never heard of someone using cookies. Never heard of someone using jalapenos either, but nonetheless, who am I to question the absolute artistry of King Cobra? So let's see what type of ingredient he adds next. So now he adds the honey, which I've come to learn is a very important part of the mead making process. Before going into this video, I knew nothing of the act of mead making, but I relied on King Cobra to teach me it. Let me tell you, after my third glass of jalapeno mead, I knew that something was up. So that's why I took a deep dive, I learned how to make it myself, and let me tell you something. Cobra, if you hadn't guessed already, is not doing this right. I looked up the basic instructions on how to make mead, and the first step is to mix honey and water together in a container. And Cobra decided to skip the water aspect because, I mean, he doesn't even like water. I think Cobra lives solely off of Mountain Dew and Monster, and this mead, of course, eventually. But he also added just an ass load of sugar and what looked to be a bunch of Chips Ahoy cookies. Now, I don't know what this is going to do to the fermentation process because, like I said, I'm not a mead maker. I don't know how this stuff works, but I can imagine it's not going to have the same type of effect that the jalapenos or the bananas are going to have. Now, I thought he was crazy for throwing jalapenos in there, but apparently people do make jalapeno mead. Now, I've never seen jalapeno cookie banana mead, but he's a fucking trailblazer, ladies and gentlemen. He's starting a movement here. They say to add some sort of like nutrition to this mead, and again, I feel like I'm kind of beating a dead horse here, but it has to be said that Cobra chose bananas, yes, but like I said, he just had to add the cookies. I feel like this would have still been gross without the cookies, but I mean, my God, it's the one thing about this. It's just gonna be. I can't imagine it's gonna dissolve like the flavor of the fruit again. This just doesn't make any sense. But in Cobra's mind, this is the greatest idea he's ever had. So now Cobra finally adds the water, and I think he said he does so by pouring the water into the honey container, shaking it up to get all the excess honey out of there. Incredibly abstract thinking from Cobra there. And I'll just say it right now, it is nice to make a video where I don't have to just call someone a predator or how terrible of a human they are. Cobra, he hates all these sickos just like I do. And of course Josh has his fair share of bad qualities that deserve to be criticized, but at the same time, he's just not as bad as these other people we talk about, so I'll give him the pass on that one. But now it's time for the real star of the show. This giant jar of jalapenos that you would see at like a snack stand somewhere where they're putting them on your nachos or some shit. I mean, this is not the type of jalapenos that are supposed to go in this thing. As I said, I watched a video of a couple. Okay, so I didn't know he just poured all the juice in there too. So, okay, that's where it gets that greenish, murky color. I thought he just maybe like scooped them up and put them in there, but no, the jalapeno juice too. I don't think you're supposed to do that. I think that could probably mess up what's going on here, but you know, Cobra probably knows better than me. But as I was saying, the couple I saw doing this, they were like just chopping up fresh jalapenos. I think they were taking the seeds out and all, just making sure it was incredibly sanitary. Now, let's look at what Cobra's doing here with his more than likely dirty ladle that he's stirring this with. I can't imagine that this is going to come out looking good when these 2 months are over and he can finally drink some of this mead. But why are we jumping ahead? He's not even done making it yet. And now we get to the bananas. And I don't know about you guys, but I've never eaten a banana and been like, man, this would go great with some jalapenos. Cobra has a very strange palate, which is probably just destroyed from years of all like the concoctions of food he eats. But here we are with his banana mead, and at this point, now all he has to do is like get all of the air out of that jar and store it in a dark place for the next 2 months. And then he'll be ready to drink it. Now, I'm going to show you a picture right now, and I just want you guys to tell me what you think about this. I'm not sure if it's this mead. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure it isn't. I hope to God it isn't. But here's what one of Cobra's mead jars is looking like. Now, just tell me what you see right here. Like, do you see a refreshing drink ready to become just ready for human consumption in the next month? Or do you see a giant jar of peanut butter? Because that's all I can think of when I see this picture. I pray to God that Cobra doesn't consume this, but I also know that would be a very dumb thing of me to pray for, because he is 110% going to consume this. And I say that because Josh doesn't have a single care in the world when it comes to his own well-being. And he also seemingly doesn't want to pay for alcohol anymore, because Josh loves a good drink, but beer gets a little pricey. And earlier this week, myself and Kiwi Tapes were on our show Too High for Stupid over on Kiwi's channel. I'll link that down in the description below if you want to go check it out. But on that show, Kiwi made a very good point that these items that Josh is using to make the mead are all things that you can seemingly get with food stamps. Now, I'm not going to jump the gun and say that's a proven fact or anything, but knowing Josh and how much he likes to sit in front of his camera on live streams, just waiting for people to donate him a couple bucks so he can go get some food to make food hacks, or most likely get alcohol so he can just get shit-faced, well, it seems like if he can find a more cost-efficient way to get drunk, the guy's gonna do it. And he already has enough health problems as it is. I mean, Cobra has been looking worse and worse for years now. Then again, so does everyone with age, but Cobra's rapid deterioration shines through no brighter than his teeth. Now, before I show you this, I want to remind you guys that I once did a video on a guy named Tony Chase who had maybe the worst teeth I've ever seen, and I wanted to give you as a warning then because this is a pretty traumatizing picture I'm about to show. And if anyone gives Tony a run for his money in the teeth department, well, it's old Josh right here, because look at these chompers. I mean, there's no way he's brushed his teeth in the past 10 years, and I imagine a big part of that is because it hurts like hell when he does so, and it's just the copious amounts of Mountain Dew, Monster Energy drink, beer. I mean, we've seen him throw up on stream before, and I guarantee you this, he didn't brush his teeth after the fact, and there's just probably so much, I said probably, but there's guaranteed so much plaque on those teeth, just eating them away, and he don't give a damn. Cobra would not go to the dentist even if probably asked. Even if he had the money, he'd probably just spend it on more dank food hacks and beer. It's gotta suck to live like this, because Cobra doesn't even eat solid food anymore. He gets food, leaves it out all night so it can get warm for him in the morning or the next night. Like, I have a hard time believing that he still enjoys Doritos when they're not crumbled up into his meal, because you bite down the wrong way on a Dorito, that motherfucker's gonna stick you in your gums, and in Josh's case, in one of those holes in his teeth, and by God, I can't imagine how much something like that would hurt. But this picture right here, I found it because of Boglum Chronicles channel, and he'll be linked in the description below, and he found it off the Reddit here from a user named Standard, I believe. So shout out to all these people who can find this stuff, because Josh doesn't smile too much for you to see a good picture of his teeth like this, but I can kind of understand why. I mean, I'm going to zoom in real quick here just so you get a fuller picture, and ooh, God, like, it's just, oh, it's gotta hurt so bad, Jesus Christ. So it'll be interesting to see how much of that Mead Cobra actually drinks, because knowing him, he'll probably down it, but if it tastes as gross as it looks, probably take a sip, turn off the camera, and go just throw it out back or something. The final pressing issue of the video that I wanted to bring up involves something on Cobra's shoulder right now. That's right, it's his beloved dragon Puff, who a lot of people have been talking about for a while, saying that Cobra should not have a pet. Cobra is barely functional to take care of himself, and he's had a bad track record with animals before, having a praying mantis, smoking on it, and I mean like literally taking a hit out of a cigarette and just blowing it onto the praying mantis, you know. These are things that you probably shouldn't be doing on camera, but Josh didn't give a shit. Hell, he gave so little of a shit. He turned that praying mantis when it died into a wand. I mean, Josh isn't the best with animals, and this poor bearded dragon on his shoulder was no different. I say was because Josh has lost Puff, his dragon. You know, again, people have been speculating for a while that something bad was going to happen, and Josh took to Facebook to the Lost Pets of Casper, Wyoming group to let them know that he had lost his lizard. And well, let's just say, let me just get this out of the way right now. Nobody who is not fit to take care of themselves should be in charge of another being. Like, whether that be human or not, like, Josh shouldn't be in the shoes to take care of this lizard, because everybody knew this was going to happen. Now, you might be thinking, oh, he just lost it. You know, that doesn't mean that it's dead. That doesn't mean that it's, well, well, Josh apparently seems to have thought that he lost him outside. And let's all hope that he's inside Josh's apartment, because apparently bearded dragons are not supposed to be outside of 65-degree temperatures for more than 24 hours. And let's take a look at the weather in Casper, Wyoming right now, and yeah, it's not prime conditions for a bearded dragon to just be posted up in right now. So Josh most likely has the blood of Puff on his hands, and again, he's never going to learn anything. People will probably try to hold him accountable, but I mean, what are you going to do? Josh is always going to find ways to do stupid shit, and it's going to be the story of his life for years and years to come. Josh has a lot like Only Use Me Blade, in the fact that they've both done tremendous amounts of damage to their body through the things that they intake, like Blade and his alcohol. Cobra likes to drink alcohol too, but I don't know at the level like Only Use Me Blade, but a lot of these lolcows have no vision for their future. They think they're going to get there, but they think they can do all the type of bullshit that they do on a daily basis, and it's going to be fine each and every day afterwards. It's not, and the cracks are already starting to show on Josh. He's looking pudgier, his hairline's never looked worse. I mean, the dude's teeth are basically just rotting in his mouth as we speak, and it's not going to be a fun next couple of years for Josh, as these things are going to start adding up. But for right now, he's going to be the same old happy Cobra. Oh, no, he's not, because he's facing another suspension on YouTube for talking about Israel and Palestine. Oh, Josh. But I hope you guys liked this video. Obviously, my knowledge on Cobra isn't as up to par as a lot of people in this community, but the more I watch of him, the more I understand why people follow along with his absurd antics. And the guy is just... There's so much lore to the Cobraverse, I would have to make a 2-hour video to give you even half the backstory, but I just wanted to talk about what he was currently up to, and if you guys enjoyed it, let me know, and hopefully we can check out what Josh is doing again. So again, I want to mention that Boglum Chronicles channel is down in the link in the description below. Go show him some love. The couple who made that jalapeno mead is also down in the link in the description if you want to see how mead is actually made. And finally, Kiwi's channel's there, and remember, we go live every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time for Too High for Stupid, and if you liked videos like this, I'm sure you're gonna like that show. So with all that being said, y'all, I'm out of here, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Hope you guys have a great rest of your month. I mean, Christmas and Thanksgiving are coming up. It's a great time to be alive, my friends, and enjoy that shit. Cherish it. So until the next time, I hope you all stay safe, and I'll catch you then. Until then, everyone have a great rest of your day.